All right, guys, so this is the Heal Your Trauma with Alchemy recap. So today we did the 5th stage of Alchemy which is fermentation. And fermentation is essentially once you have kind of gotten through the black phase where you're kind of seeing the things that you don't like about whatever it is that you're trying to change. So as we're talking about trauma, we're talking about the way that we function in the world and the way that the world functions with us, what we're currently receiving in our life circumstances, and the type of people that are around us, and the way that we use our coping mechanisms to navigate the world, which is obviously self-sabotaging our growth toward where we want to go, right? That's the only reason why we usually want to do any type of work at all. So once we get into the white phase, we refine ourselves to this pure state where we start to really see who we are at our core. And as we step into the red phase, which is fermentation, which is the first one, we start to talk about how we get to a plateau, right? And I use this analogy that basically when you get there, you're at a plateau. It doesn't mean that you're not moving. You're just walking in a straight line, which means at the same time that you need to get diligent. You need to start putting certain cycles and reprogramming certain things in your mind. Okay. All of that knowledge that you have gotten up into this point, you're going to start implementing it into regimens and systems and habits and all of these different things that before were detrimental to you. Now you're going to start replacing those things with more positive, uplifting things that are going to enable you to be the person that you see yourself being at the end of this journey, or that you want to improve on. So if I want to improve my thought pattern, I had to first heal what was going on in here, creating those coping mechanisms and those negative thought patterns. So now I need to implement new patterns. I need to implement new coping mechanisms. I need to implement new ways of communicating with others about my feelings and about my boundaries, etc., right? So we talked about that, and we said, look, in the last part, we had to understand reflection and change. So now what we're doing is we're taking all of that information, both from the journey and the things that we have learned about ourselves, that self-knowledge. And like kombucha, okay, we are the SCOBY. That was the analogy that I used. If y'all want to go back to part 1 and see the picture, don't talk about my drawing. Okay. So the sugar was self-knowledge, and the tea, y'all, was the knowledge we learned around going into the journey about the things that we didn't like, what type of traumas, etc., right? Just the overall concept of wisdom that we learned versus the understanding of ourself, which is the sugar. And we are the SCOBY. So we eat the sugar. That is the light that comes off of that. And that's called enzymes and probiotics.